Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I am a self-government expert. I've been traveling the world now for years teaching people how to have self-government in their families and in a lot of other things too. So today in this video, we're going to be talking about what does self-government look like as a child. In this video, we're going to talk about what self-government is, what parents want from self-government, how to teach self-government to a child, and what self-government success looks like. So what is self-government? Self-government is being able to determine the cause and effect of any given situation and possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So what that means is that you understand cause and effect. Now I know that seems really basic, but I work with a lot of families and I've worked with a lot of children, and I can tell you that many of them don't understand cause and effect when it relates to their relationships. Parents don't realize that when they yell at their children, the children do not feel safe. Children don't realize that when they don't follow instructions from their parents, the parents don't trust them. Very interesting. These are all cause and effect situations that affect our relationships. So when a person learns cause and effect, they're on the path to self-government. But there is a second part. The second part of self-government is possessing a knowledge of your own behaviors so that you can control them. So what does that look like for a child? Can a child really analyze themselves and control all of their own behaviors? Did you know that the answer is yes? That doesn't mean they're going to be perfect every time. And even though their prefrontal cortexes in their brains are very small, they can learn cause and effect, and they can learn to analyze themselves. It's very interesting to see time and time again 2- and 3-year-old children learning to disagree appropriately with their parents, learning to shut off their emotions immediately. When my son was 3 years old, we had a calm down place for him to go to when he was completely out of control. And I would just say to him, Porter, you're whining. We need to go to the calm down place. Before we even took 2 steps to the calm down place, Porter would go, I'm okay, Mom. I'm calm. He could get himself calm that quickly because he knew what calmness felt like and what it didn't feel like. And because I spent most of the time describing his behavior to him and I never reacted to his behavior in emotional ways, he was able to have that freedom of analyzing himself even more because I would just describe what he should be seeing. Sure, they're not perfect at it at first, but we can teach it to them. And that's what self-government looks like for a child. It looks like them learning the process of self-analysis and cause and effect. So they've got to be taught it. It's not something they just automatically learn. Parents have to be the example of self-government, and they have to be non-emotional and respond to their children in ways that help them see and analyze what should be happening versus what did happen. And then they need to learn skills that they can use to conquer themselves in those situations. So that's what we do. We teach the children skills. So how does that help the parents? Well, what the parents want is they want their child to be happy, don't they? But they also want their child to not be in bondage to all of the emotions and the misbehaviors. They want to have a bond and connection with their children. They want to feel like they work well with them and that they have good, open, understanding communication. Well, all of this is possible when a person learns self-mastery. When they learn skills like following instructions and accepting no answers, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. They learn how to look at a person, to keep calm faces, voices, and body. They learn how to drop the subject so that they can move on and be happy in their day, which impacts the entire family. They learn how to share their point of view and to understand other people's point of view. They learn so many vital lessons that helps them find the success and happiness that is possible, in fact, only possible, when you are in complete control of yourself and your happiness. We're really getting into some good nuts and bolts about what self-government is, what it's going to look like in your home. I have so many videos on this channel that will show you more and more of how to implement self-government in your home and what some of the philosophies and principles and skills are. If you want to learn more and be able to hear all my latest videos when they come out, then click that subscribe button because you don't want to miss out. All right, let's move on now to how to teach self-government to children. So how do you teach self-government to a child? Well, you do it very proactively, very deliberately. It's not something that accidentally happens. When a parent wants their child to have that freedom that comes from knowing how to master themselves, they've got to help the child see what's really going on within themselves and in the environment around them. So this means there's a lot of talking that happens. Now, not lecturing. Lecturing is totally different than teaching somebody a skill or helping them analyze. Those can be very short conversations. So what you do is you talk about what's going on around you and what should be happening to make it more successful. When your children are little, you're going to start teaching them things like how to follow instructions, how to say okay, and how to be calm and be okay. So those 4 basic skills, following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately, have skill sets attached to them. And you're going to want to work on those and train those ahead of time. You're also going to want to nurture your relationship and help create a path for where you're going as a family, not just as an individual. This self-government journey, even though it requires each heart going through a change of heart, is actually about your entire group. You can't just teach one person's self-government and not have it impact the whole rest of the group. That's why it's so important that mom and dad learn self-government too. In fact, that's probably one of the biggest factors in teaching your children self-government, is that you take the time to apply the self-government principles and skills to your own life as well. Not only are you going to teach the children the 4 basic skills, but there are 5 teaching styles that I teach to parents for how to correct problems. And there's meetings that we have so that the family checks up on how they're doing at accomplishing that family plan, which I often call a family vision that they're shooting for the future. So there's some groundwork that has to be laid. It can maybe seem a little overwhelming to some people, but just do one thing at a time. In fact, I have a course. It's called the Teaching Self-Government Parenting course, and it takes you step by step through the process of putting all these things into place so that you can get off to the perfect start. So the parents know these 5 teaching styles. Well, they're not the only ones that need to know the teaching styles. The children need to know exactly how you will correct them. I'm talking they should know the words you will say. Now, I know that seems a little weird, like, well, I don't even know the words that I'm going to say. Well, actually, I was saying that thinking maybe you might be thinking that. I do know the words I'm going to say. Every single time that I need to correct my children, the same words will come out of my mouth. And they know it. They are predictable. They don't need to have any anxiety attached to what consequences will happen or what words will be said. There's not going to be any emotional things that are going to be dumping out of my mouth because I've planned it. And I have found calmness within myself, which is actually the hallmark of a person who's self-governed. So what does success look like when your child is self-governed? The biggest indicator that your child is having great self-government success is their calmness. Their calmness should improve bit by bit over time. In fact, many families find that when they are learning self-government as a family, the calmness is one of the things that drastically changes almost immediately. That doesn't mean you get perfect at your calmness immediately, but when you start focusing on it, it's amazing how many of those little fights and disputes just kind of go away. Also, when we have skills where we know how to solve our problems and we know how to communicate together, we are able to just maintain calm because we know everyone's going to come to a place of understanding. Now, sometimes calmness can be difficult. In fact, calmness is so important to self-government, I actually have created an entire toolkit just for calmness, and I want to give it to you for free. So if you go to the description below this video, you'll see a link that says Calm Parenting Toolkit. Click on that link. It's completely free for you. I know that you're going to enjoy it. It's going to benefit you along your self-government journey. Get that gift today.